What is going on, everybody? It's your boy Logan Silent here. Welcome back to another video on the channel. Today we're going to be going over a team that my friend Fredo and I built together. This is our first ever Regulation C team that we built, and our first team we've ever actually built as a duo, which was a whole lot of fun for us to use. And we just played in the Beagle, I think it was number 14 tournament. We both top cut with it. So it's got a little bit of success behind it, but yeah, I'm going to give you a quick rundown of the team here, and then I have two actual stats that are kind of cut down a little bit to make them shorter so that we can cover those. But the whole premise of this team is we wanted to build something around Screamtail, and we just figured Screamtail with the current Ruin Mons is actually pretty good in this current meta with Encore, Disable, and Protect being able to like be a very good support mon. Honestly, right now it feels very strong in the current meta, and it, as you'll see in this video, put in a bunch of work for us. And honestly, like even if it just gets rid of Tinglu from being able to fissure, it's beneficial to our team. So paired with that, we have Gyarados for Intimidate, which is kind of good, but we're kind of debating on switching that out for Paldean Tauros, the fire version, just to give us a little bit more like a better matchup into Iron Bundle and Iron Hands, because that's kind of what it looks like the team is struggling with for us. So that might be changed in like the V2 version of this team. But then we also have Corviknight, and this Corviknight is like a very, very special, it's like a specially defensive, bulky Corviknight. The whole goal here is just to set up bulk ups and then just start nuking stuff, because once you're set up, I mean, you're a good defensive type, you can just eat these special hits and go crazy with it. You'll see, I think I showcased it in these games, but this thing is absolutely a monster. The Citrus Berry there too, it goes crazy. I think I didn't put another one of the sets in where it was like more prominent, but if this video gets enough like support or interactions or whatever, I'll go back and make a video on that other set. That was like probably the better set, but it was like I think that one went 3 games, so it would have made this video a little bit too long for me. Flutter Mane plus Chi-Yu. It's Choice Scarf Chi-Yu, but it's not max speed Chi-Yu, so you still, I think you are, I think you get to 213 speed with your Choice Scarf, so you still will underspeed Dragapult, so you have to keep that in mind if you use this team. Which, I mean, it's not that big of a deal, but I know Justin Tang just won Fort Wayne with a choice band Dragapult, and that was definitely max speed. So you just need to be careful with this Chi-Yu if you're going to play it against that team. Flutter Mane standard focus sash 252 special attack and speed. It's a timid one, so you're gonna, if for some reason the stun gets set up, you're gonna get booster in your speed, just so you're aware. And lastly, Baxcalibur. Just, I mean, honestly, you can switch Baxcalibur in for Corviknight and get your thermal exchange boost, and then with the Assault Vest, it's just so incredibly bulky. But yeah, like I said, the biggest threats for this team right now seem to be Iron Bundle, especially Booster Bundle, because it outspeeds Booster Screamtail, which gets, oh gosh, I don't remember. I think it's in the 240 range, but basically it should outspeed every mon that's not Booster. It outspeeds it outspeeds Dragapult, which is the fastest mon in the game. So. And it outspeeds all Scarf Chi-Yus, I'm pretty positive. So yeah, if you're going to play with this team, just keep that in mind. But let's jump into it right now. All right, so here you can see our opponent's team. If you want to pause it to take a look at it, you can. This is like a pretty standard balanced team. Flutter Mane, Amoonguss, Palafin, Arcanine, Core with Tinglu, which is the new addition in this meta here. And then there's 6 Pokemon, which is usually a wild card. Sometimes you'll see like, I'm sure now you'll see like Dragapult and Baxcalibur. But now they're throwing in Garganacl here. So at this point I was 0-1 in the tournament. I lost to Deagle Beagle, the host of this tournament, in round 1. I just could not get around this Talonflame plus Sandy Shocks plus Booster Bundle, which, like I said, has been like a huge issue for me throughout the tournament. But yeah, let's get into this game here. Let's check out our leads. Ryusei sends out Garganacl and Tinglu, and I'm going to send out Gyarados and Corviknight here. I'm going to get the double Intimidate off, and obviously the special attack is going to get lowered. Now in this situation, like Corviknight is extremely good against this team because these teams heavily rely on like Arcanine support. And with Mirror Armor from Corviknight, you basically, every time you switch in the Arcanine, you're going to ensure that they're like -1 attack when they switch in, which is just absolutely freaking wonderful. You can see even a -1 waterfall from Gyarados does about 50%. And then with the Iron Head hit there, we got the flinch on turn 1, which is really beneficial. You had, I think it's a 20% chance overall to get that, so very lucky. I think I actually got pretty lucky with para flinches in this game, or in this set just in general. But this lead is really good because you can also lead Corviknight and Baxcalibur, or Corviknight and Gyarados here. And you can freely Earthquake next to Corviknight, which is extremely nice. In this situation, I'm going to go Terra Fire with Corviknight. Last turn, my Gyarados got burned. I want to prevent the Arcanine from doing it. Actually, this turn, my Gyarados got burned. So he had to pick who his burn target was. I was hoping he would pick Corviknight, but obviously this is open team sheets, so definitely picked the correct person. So now I'm -1 attack and burns. So like obviously my attack is extremely dampened, but I'm still doing like 45% with Waterfall into the Arcanine. And Amoonguss is here, so we're just trying to get set up here and trying to make sure that they can't like do too much damage. So I believe I double into the Amoonguss slot here because I just want it dead. Amoonguss is a huge threat to my team at this point in the game. And especially with Corviknight being Terra Fire at this point, and they have a Tinglu and a Garganacl, my main goal was to ensure that the Amoonguss could not spore me. So you're going to see me try to position myself to do that here. This next turn, I'm actually going to double up into the Amoonguss again, even though I did this the same exact play the turn before. I just wanted to ensure... was I +1? I don't think I was +1. I might have been +1. I've been up for way too long. But double into the Amoonguss there, and then I get the wonderful benefit of the Fissure from the Tinglu, which is just absolutely what you want to see when you're in a situation like this. You just love to see it. There's just nothing like getting fissured from a Tinglu. Forgive me for the yawn. But obviously this is a Fissure meta at this point, so you kind of have to play around it, but honestly, for my playing today, it seemed to me that Tinglu, like playing against Tinglu, you kind of just have to accept that they have Fissure, and you can't really play around it, because if you play around like every Fissure is going to hit, it's just going to make you lose the game. This Terra Water Tinglu actually was so dang annoying to play against, because it's just so bulky. Like, look how much damage. I mean, obviously I'm burned and intimidated twice at this point, but it's just still like, holy crap. My Baxcalibur at this point is also a -1 or -1, and there's another flinch. Awesome for me. But the good thing about Thermal Exchange from Baxcalibur, for those of you guys who do not know, is Thermal Exchange Baxcalibur, if you get hit by a fire type move, you actually get a +1 boost into your you get a +1 attack boost, and you also can't be burned, which is really nice against all the Arcanines running around. And the Paldean Tauros Blaze breeds that are going to be running around in the near future, because I have a feeling that those are about to start skyrocketing in usage. But yeah, and Baxcalibur plus Gyarados is a really nice duo to have on the field here too, because you can just safely Earthquake with your Baxcalibur, and then focus on other stuff. And Gyarados does a lot of this pair flinching stuff for me. It doesn't really do a whole lot of damage, honestly. The Gyarados is mostly bulky. But it throws off a Thunder Wave, and then it just starts waterfalling into the slot. And it doesn't, I mean, obviously, like, double Intimidate plus, double Intimidate plus Burn, I couldn't think of the word, and I was yawning, obviously, it's kind of rough to play around. And I didn't want to switch my Gyarados out, because I was, like, not looking forward to get something else getting fissured. Who do I have in the back? I think I have Screamtail in the back. And I knew that if I got it down to a 2-on-1, even if I got fissured, I'd be fine. I'd be chilling, because my Screamtail could come in and just Encore disable. So, like I said, at this point, we're kind of just stalling the game out here. This goes on for a little bit. This is really just positioning. and I was just trying to pair flinch them for as long as I possibly could. So waterfall plus obviously being paralyzed. And this was like it's just kind of a stallier meta right now. It can be more hyper offensive. Oh, there's another fissure, by the way. At 2-0, like they did not miss a single fissure, I don't think, this whole set. But they didn't bring Tinglu game 2. I skipped a couple turns here because it was just kind of like setting up stuff. I was like protecting with Gyarados, and I ended up disabling their fissure that they went for, and then encored them into the disabled fissure. So they ended up having to struggle, and they KO'd themselves. This second game, I lead Corviknight Gyarados again because I felt like it was a great lead. They lead Arcanine, and now their Arcanine is -2 because I intimidated them, and then they got their own Intimidate thrown back at them. So pretty nice for me, honestly. And this Garganacl, turn 1, actually Terras into Terra Fairy. Very, very interesting. I guess that covers for the waterfall plus Iron Head into that slot and just has 1 super effective hit, but I actually Terra'd my Corviknight into Terra Fire here and started setting up. This Corviknight is literally on this team to just sit there and set up in front of everybody. Like there's no other reason. Obviously it's a good support mon. Just in terms of like, well, we used to have Tailwind on it, but I switched Tailwind out for Iron Head just to kind of give like a safer damage option, which is really, really nice into Fluttermaids. But yeah, this Corviknight is so good. If you get up 2 bulk ups, and plus you have like the Terrifier, if you're not getting hit by like an Iron Bundle Hydro Pump, like you're eating hits. For example, I think later in this tournament, I was at like 70, I probably was at like 80%, and Corviknight took a booster energy. It was booster speed, but it was a Thunder from a Sandy Shocks from 80% while it was non-terrestrialized, and it dropped it down to, I believe, like 15%. And then I ate my citrus, and then I roosted, and I was back up to like 85% afterwards. And it was just like, I was like, holy crap. Like this thing is so fat. It's EV'd, not for anything in particular, but just to give it some special bulk. And then obviously once you get the bulk ups off, like you're not struggling all that much. Like you're eating hits, and then you're able to do so much damage back. Like you'll be able to see throughout this match here, because obviously I don't get fissured because they don't have a Tinglu. Garganacl gets fissured too, but their Garganacl did not have fissure. And then like I definitely need to PP max the Corviknight, but it's just like having the ability to roost in these long drawn out matches like this is just so beneficial. I will say like another issue that this team has is like Wo-Chien stall. Just because like Leech Seed plus Glamora BS Toxic Spike stuff is just like, it's just so incredibly annoying, and it's very hard to knock those Pokemon out fast enough to be able to like avoid all of the stall. So, and those people, they usually run like Glamora Fluttermane, so you can't like focus on the Glamora and then it just like Mortal Spins you or does whatever. But you can see me here, I'm just like, I think I roosted early there because I wanted to make sure, or they protected or something. I wasn't paying full attention, but like we're how many turns in and I'm still like almost full health. Like just crazy. So Arcanine comes in here. Obviously I don't get intimidated here. It just goes straight to -1. I mean, Excalibur gets intimidated, but Corviknight doesn't get intimidated. So super nice. Flutter protects here. And I believe, what do I do? Do I double into that slot? No. I think I was covering for both. I think I Ice Sharded into the Amoonguss and Iron Headed into Fluttermane. This Fluttermane's actually like a substitute variant. But this Arcanine switches in. Okay, its moves are Flare Blitz, Snarl, Will-O-Wisp, and Protect. In this case, what is it going to do? If it Flare Blitzes into my Excalibur, it gets +1 attack, right? If it Snarls, it does no damage. If it protects, which it just did. It doesn't do anything for the turn, and we can double into the other thing. Or if it Flare Blitzes, it gives Baxcalibur a +1 attack boost, or Corviknight does like no damage. So it's just, they were just in such a bad position at this point. Obviously Ironhead, when you're +2, I believe, one-shots Flutter Mane from that HP, and usually one-shots most Flutter Manes when you're +1. Even the bulky ones, which is extremely nice. Very, very nice. They're going to send out Amoonguss here, and I believe their last 2 Pokemon are Amoonguss. Their last 3 are Amoonguss, Garganacl, and Arcanine, and they just cannot do enough damage. I believe they forfeit here, actually. At the end of this turn, yeah. They just went ahead and forfeited. So I got a nice, I think, 4 out of there. I don't think I ever switched out any of my Pokemon, but we're going to jump into our second set here, and this is going to be the last set of the video. So if you guys are enjoying, please hit that like button and subscribe. I really do appreciate it. And let me know if you guys enjoy these types of videos, and I'll definitely be doing more as I play more tournaments. So you can see their team here: Dondozo, Tatsugiri, Chi-Yu, Flutter Mane, Iron Hands, and Amoonguss. I told y'all I was struggling with the Iron Hands stuff that we played throughout the night. So you'll see how I tried my best to manage the situation here. But these Dondozo players, I played a hell of a lot of Dondozo in Regulation B, Series 2, yada yada. I played a lot of Dondozo, just because there was like the biggest check to it was Palafin and Amoonguss. And while that was like pretty frequent, most people didn't know how to play against it very well. So yeah, a new lead I found out recently with this team. I've only played probably 35, 40 games with this team overall. It feels very good. But when you lead Flutter Mane, or basically when you lead Screamtail and another Pokemon that has Protect, especially when you lead into something that has like Fake Out, like why not double Protect? Like there's almost no reason in my opinion to not do it. Because you guarantee that you're not going to take damage unless like the one reason that you wouldn't do it is if the opponent has like Swords Dance or Nasty Plot or something they can set up with, and they can predict the double Protect. So it can be kind of rough. Obviously, like I was saying, double Protect here. This just gives us a safe turn, especially with Screamtail. Doing it with Screamtail on the field is probably the most important part of this, and that's because Screamtail is able to, like, let's say Iron Hands had locked into like Drain Punch there. I could just Encore them into Drain Punch, and then the next turn disable them, and then all of a sudden they either, for the first turn they won't be able to attack, and the second turn they're just gonna have to struggle for the rest until they switch out or whatever happens. So it's extremely nice. Obviously they wild charged that first turn right there, so I believe I just disable them. Wild Charge is their like best damaging move in my team here at this point. So I just disabled them. I'm just like, oh, you want to use Wild Charge? No, thank you. Not happening, bro. So Wild Charge is disabled. I Moonblast into that Dondozo slot, and that brings Tatsugiri down to 1 HP, which is extremely nice. Like, just knowing that, like, when you KO Dondozo, like, the Tatsugiri is probably going to go down with it. It's super nice. And then, like I said, he tried to Wild Charge that turn, or they tried to Wild Charge that turn. And not being able to Wild Charge is really nice. And now I can actually just Encore them into not being able to do that. And you can see me like trying to make the decision here. I'm like, I don't know if they're going to switch out, or I don't know. I could have just play roughed into that slot, because there really wasn't a whole like major reason that they would not switch out. But they could have like switched moves there. So I go for the icy one just to cover for the Tatsugiri in case I don't protect. And obviously Wild Charge is disabled, and now they're Encored into it, so they like physically cannot attack there. In this situation, they either have to switch out Tatsugiri into Dondozo, or they have to let Tatsugiri go down, or they have to switch Iron Hands into Dondozo. So there's a couple of different options that you can cover for here. The safest option is to just double into the Iron Hand slot. The Iron Hands, I believe, is a Soul Vest. I believe I read that right earlier. So you can just safely double into the slot Tatsugiri is not going to be doing a whole lot of damage to Fluttermane or Screamtail. So I think I Icy Wind here again. Did I Icy Wind? I forgot. I wasn't really looking all that closely, to be completely honest. But I believe I Icy Winded here with Fluttermane. Let's see. I should have cut the... I don't know why I left the boost in. I play roughed into Dondozo and actually missed. I Moonblasted. Okay, yeah. So I just doubled into the Dondozo slot, which is completely fine. But yeah, one reason Screamtail for me is actually super beneficial is you can switch it into a Dondozo, and when you switch it into a Dondozo, you're going to be like immune to the order ups that it uses. And then if you catch them slipping and they protect, you're able to just like encore disable them into protect, and then they can't do anything until they die, which is really nice because then you can position yourself to potentially get rid of Tatsugiri on the same turn as you damage Dondozo, like as you KO Dondozo. So very, very nice. Here I'm just Intimidate cycling with Gyarados while I try to get my like encore disable stuff going here. So I do that, and I also Thunder Wave, just to make sure, like speed wise, like I stay faster. I don't want to switch out my Screamtail at this point because obviously booster energy has already been used, and Screamtail's like I think in the 160s without booster. So you really want to ensure that like you're not switching it out all the time. So if you're gonna lead Screamtail, be prepared to leave it on the field for a little bit. And if you are not going to run Screamtail, I would say, or if you're gonna run Screamtail in the back, I would say like bring it in later on in the game, especially like if they have like 2 Pokemon left and you know that one of them's about to protect, you can just swap in Screamtail if you can get it in safely and just encore them into it, because you're gonna outspeed 99% of the meta, right? So you just have to keep in mind like Tailwind and Trick Room and stuff like that. Also, another like issue, like a matchup issue for this team is Trick Room. It's kind of rough against our team, but there's not a whole lot of Trick Room being played right now in Regulation C. Like Indeedee Armor Rouge is kind of being pushed out of the meta because of like just all the dark types in the meta, and then yeah, it's like is his name Andy from Toy Story, where he's like dropping Woody's like, I don't want to play with you anymore or whatever, you know what I mean. You've all seen the meme where he's dropping Woody. He's Woody, not Buzz Lightyear. This match ended up being like a huge stall fest, low key. So he ended his encore here, and because he ended up being like Thunder Waved in the prior turn, I was not able to encore him, like re-encore him into the move that he was disabled into. So he actually got a free move here, but he was fully paralyzed again, which is really funny for me. And at this point, I think his moves, or their moves, sorry, I don't want to misgender anybody, but I feel like their moves were Wave Crash, Earthquake, maybe Terra Blast? I don't think it was Order Up. And what was the last move? Protect. So they obviously aren't going to protect here with the encore shenanigans going on, because that's a guaranteed like way to die. But I just double protected here, and at this point, the move that I was most worried about was Wave Crash, because Wave Crash is going to do like 65-70% to Screamtail. It really just depends on how what's it called? It really depends on how much attack investment the Dondozo has in the other team, like how much damage it does to Screamtail. But I was able to just encore into the Wave Crash here. And like it's really rough. You have to, like, when you're playing with this team, you have to be cognizant of like in which order should you be doing the Wave Crash stuff. Like should you be protecting or not Wave Crash stuff, like the encore disable stuff. Like, should you be encoring in a certain situation, or should you be disabling, or should you be protecting? Like, it's kind of a big mind game. But like, for example, a lot of the time, like, the way for me to beat Iron Hands would be to protect and let it use wild charge, and then disable the wild charge. And obviously in this situation, the wave crash is disabled. I was trying to set it up to where the Dondozo was gonna be able. Please forgive me. I was trying to set this situation up where the Dondozo would be able to go down with the like the Dondozo and the Tatsugiri would be able to go down together as like a duo, like go down, be KO'd in the same turn. But obviously Screamtail doesn't do enough damage to get it down to that point. I could have stalled a little bit longer there to ensure it, but honestly the Tatsugiri was focus sashed and was already on 1 HP, so I wasn't like tripping too hard about the situation. So gonna go for an Icy Wind here, and I think a Play Rough? No, just Protect. Okay, that's a safe play. Very safe play, because the Tatsugiri is 1 HP and I outspeed. As long as Icy Wind hits it, it would be KO'd. And then they are gonna Terra with their Flutter Mane. This Flutter Mane Terra Fairy is so pretty. Just so gorgeous. I love the beads and the little spikes on his head. Flutter Mane's just so well designed, honestly. Major kudos. Major kudos to the Pokemon team for the design of Flutter Mane. And Screamtail. Screamtail's my favorite Paradoxmon, I would say. Just so cool. And I just love its like little support shenanigans that it can do. Just so cool. Like, and the fact that it gets like Perish Song too, so cool. Obviously I'm able to eat a Dazzling Gleam here, and because I knew that Tatsugiri was on 1 HP and obviously couldn't switch out and couldn't do any damage because it would have been KO'd by Icy Wind, I was able to like stay in with my Flutter here, and I was able to get a what's it called? I was able to get a Icy Wind off, and now obviously my Screamtail outsped beforehand, but now I know what move the Flutter used, and I believe they might have been Choice Specs. Maybe? I don't remember. Anyway, Tatsugiri comes in. I don't believe that a Terra Fairy Moonblast actually KOs his Iron Hands. I think it's got to be like 252 special defense plus Assault Vest, plus like a Careful or Calm, whatever the boost in special defense is. Nature, like, I mean, it was pretty obese. I hate to say it. So I was just doing this to see if I could do this safely, and this person that I'm playing is extremely worried about being locked into a move here. And so just like having the Screamtail being hyper aware, like just being like so eternally on the field, it just plays some crazy mind games. Like, are you going to protect and then get encored into something? Especially like all the choice specs and scarfed and banded Pokemon that are in the meta right now. It's just, oh, it's so nice. In this situation, they had no priority, so I was just free to go for an Icy Wind and a Play Rough, I believe, here. And that would have KO'd both the Iron Hands and the Tatsugiri. Tatsugiri was already on 1 HP. Flutter Mane switches in and is now -1 speed. And then it's just like setting yourself up like this is just so nice for late game. It's so beneficial. There's just so many, pathways for you to take the W home if you would get into a situation like this. So here I'm double protecting because they have Fake Out on Iron Hands, and they could have faked me out and started pulling some shenanigans. I had Scarf Chiyu in the back, so I wasn't super worried, but you never know. Oh, there we go. Okay, so here is game 2. Iron Hands plus Flutter Mane lead for them, and I led Screamtail plus Flutter Mane for me. Interesting to note, this is actually game 3 in this set. Not in actuality, this is technically game 2 because in the original game 2, the other person disconnected from the game in the middle of the game. So I did the same thing in the original game 2 that I did in game 1, which was double protect with my Pokemon. In this instance, instead of double protecting and trying to encore lock somebody into something, I just went hyper offensive and tried to nuke their Iron Hands turn 1 with Fluttermane plus Flutter plus Screamtail. So I play roughed and Moonblasted into their right slot here, and that was the absolute correct move. They expected me to go for the double protect stuff again, but nope. Play rough and a Moonblast into that slot just took out their chi right at the start, like lowers the ability for them to switch in and out right off the bat, which is huge for us. Absolutely huge. Turn 2, I'm just gonna, I believe I double protect here. Do I double protect? I do double protect. Amoonguss is kind of rough for this team. We have no safety goggles user on the team, which kind of sucks. But you know what? It's not too big of a deal. Not having a safety goggles user is it's kind of annoying. Amoonguss is like probably one of the top 5 most popular Pokemon to be used right now, which is kind of why I'm experimenting right now with like Paldean Tauros Blaze breed, so that I can like actually diminish the ability of Amoonguss. And so it would be like safety goggles, Terra, water, Tauros Blaze breed, which is very nice. So testing that out. If that ends up becoming a permanent switch to the team, I will make a V2 video at some point. But yeah, as you can see, I just Shadow Balled into the Fluttermane, and Amoonguss is, I believe, encored into Rage Powder at this point. So there's nothing that they can do here. Oh, no, here's the encore. A lot of times when Amoonguss comes in, I just double protect with both my Pokemon and then disable, because you expect them to spore. I was gonna say, why did I Moonblast? But I just saw the Rage Powder. Like, I'm tripping right now. Corn Dog protects here. That's our Fluttermane. Amoonguss is obviously stuck Rage Powdering. I'm going to disable the Rage Powder, so now Amoonguss cannot do anything other than Rage Powder, and the Rage Powder is disabled now, and so they have 1 turn, I believe. I think they actually start struggling this next turn. I get a Play Rough into the Iron Hands, get the attack drop, which is kind of funny, and I get the Terra Fairy Moonblast. Obviously, Amoonguss cannot redirect anything now, and I think they have a Fluttermane in the back, right? So Fluttermane obviously doesn't want to switch into that slot, and Amoonguss can't do anything. So yeah, there's the struggle, which actually does quite a lot. It does 23 damage, which is a lot more than you would expect from an Amoonguss. And Amoonguss cannot do anything for the rest of the game. It's stuck struggling for the rest of the game, and so they just forfeit here. So yeah, I appreciate you guys hanging out with me and watching this video. If you did enjoy the commentary and the team, make sure to leave a like and send it to your friends. Let's see how many times I can run into a mirror on the letter. Yeah, love you guys. Peace out. Take care. Bye-bye.